First of all, and second of all, first of all, the problem of humanity and the demand and the search of humanity. What we are looking for today. So these will be the topics, and why it is important to bring this change of attitude and concept of work. So if we look at our major attitude towards work and labor, we may find that labor is difficult. It is known in all languages. You can look into any language, Russian, English, even Sanskrit. Shramaha is labor which is difficult, which is tiring. Why is that tiring? What is resisting? Why it is not joyful and beautiful? Why labor should be tiring? And there is a reason for this, and it's quite interesting, because the reason is the resistance of inertia, of inconscient, of ignorance within our being. If you try to do exercises, physical exercises, you will feel immediately that body resists, body doesn't want to move. If you want to try to decide or to solve some problem mathematically, you will see that the brain resists. It falls into this inertia. It doesn't want to work. So you will see that there is this problem of labor being tiring. And on that ground, there are many views on labor as something which is difficult for us, and we have to find the way to make it easy. So those who find the way to make it easy, they are successful people. So those who are still in difficulty, they are not successful. So that's our view. And the whole view from the Bible coming with the curse of labor, where God curses Adam and Eve when they leave paradise and go to earth, that in blood and sweat they will earn their bread. It will be difficult for them. It's not a paradise where everything is easy. So we have this idea that we must find the way to out of this situation. So we are engaged in creation of all the techniques, technologies, tools for labor, which will help us to master nature without being exhausted. So you can see this trend. So those who invest less and get more are usually successful people. So they put less labor and get more results. So they master better nature. So in this case, we are thinking that we must proceed in that direction. And it creates also a difficulty for us. The difficulty is quite obvious, because we don't like labor. We try to retire very soon. Now there is all the time going on with retirement. If I retire when I'm 25 or 35, I can do what I want. I don't want to work for someone, to give my labor, to give my energy, to be exhausted for someone, especially for getting money and my livelihood. So it's quite obvious that we don't like labor. So how to change this situation? How to make labor likable, lovable by us? Was there any other view or system which could help us to be happily engaged in the creativity, in the creative way of living? Because our life is separated into two parts. We have to sell our labor, then we have to get our earnings, and then we have to spend our life in a way we want it. So this is a big question. Was there a system, or is there a way out from this situation of the curse of labor, that it is difficult and heavy? Yeah. Yes, in Norway there is a group of people, there is the whole institution created by the government, on the ground that Norway created the best conditions, as we know, for working environment. They have this concept of inclusive work life. They think that working is better than not working. Even if you work very little, you must work always, because you come and you meet people, you have an exchange of energy, and that sustains you and helps you to develop. So if you are not capable of working 100%, you may work 50%, 40%, even 20%, and the rest is covered by the government. So you must come to work. It's better than you sit at home on medication or with problems and doctors are coming to you and you go to the hospitals. It is cheaper and it is better. But why people are so avoiding to come to work? Especially when it was discovered that when they are on medication more than 3 weeks, and they have very good jobs and everything is fine at their work environment, they avoid to come to work. So they try to stay at home. They don't like to come to work, even though everything is fine and they earn good money. And that was a puzzle, and they started this office which was trying to figure out and to help people to understand that work is good. But they couldn't convince them, so the work is not good for people psychologically. They think even though it is well organized, it is still to be avoided. And why people are getting sick so easily at work, especially many diseases which are not diseases but psychological disorders, anxieties and so on. And it was discovered, it wasn't discovered much, but what was discovered, that the work is to be organized better. They try to give privileges, they try to cover the percentages, but at the same time the real problem is a psychological problem, and that people do not find the correspondence of their own inner nature to what they do outside. Outside everything is fine, but it is not theirs. They were hired to do the work which is not in accordance with their own inner need, with their inner need of development. And this distraction of the inner and outer, disconnection of the inner from outer, creates these psychological disorders. So in the Gita, it is known as better to follow one's own swadharma than to follow any successful dharma of the other, because that dharma, if you follow, which is not suiting you, which is not fitting your own inner development, leads you to fear, and that fear is the anxiety. Fear means you are shrinking back to yourself, according to the Sanskrit understanding of fear, bhi. It's shrinking back to yourself, and that's the anxiety. You don't want to expand, you don't want to be part of the society, you want to fall back, you want to find yourself back. You see that you are not yourself. You meet with others who are not supporting your own self-development. So this Swadharma concept, following your own nature, following your own law of development, is crucial for work. Maybe it's one of those key concepts which we must look into to make this work more meaningful.